My cat won't escape. I don't think he'll try, but
I did warn Justin about the cat.
okay. He's just he's a let him come to. Are you a cat person?
Yes, I have two.
I thought so. Just let him come to you. Don't try to play with him. He's not the playful kind. He'll bite.
Okay. All right.
Hello. How
Hi.
are you today?
I'm okay.
Good.
All is
You
well.
feeling good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I brought him this little fish, and it has catnip. Are you or him allergic to catnip? Okay. So comes with a little bag of catnip, and if you don't mind, I'll put it inside the fish. So I'll I don't know why it has this weird plastic on it.
Cosmo, you're good.
Cosmo, I brought you a present. Since we're all up in your space. Did Cosmo have only one eye when you first
First got him.
got to know him?
Yeah, I got him with one eye right after he.
Yes, it's for you.
Right after he had it removed.
It is, it's for you.
Hey, Cosmo,
Not
with the
that
nails.
part.
Chill. Hey.
Oh, both of my cats, I let them.
You let them.
I let them get at me.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm completely familiar with that and okay with that.
He knows it's good.
Can you smell it already?
Mm-hmm.
Can you smell it already?
Oh my goodness. Matter. Yeah.
Didn't think about how messy this might be.
Oh, don't worry about it. Seriously. And if it gets on the floor, he'll eat it.
And this is just an herb, so. And then I'll leave you some.
Okay. Thank you. I usually dump some on the.
Oh, you, okay, so you guys are good. Cosmo, you want this fish? You want this fish? I don't know if you can smell it. Can you smell it? Oh, get that fish. Oh, yay, he actually likes it. My cats don't. Well, my cats will play with him in the middle of the night and, bring them as prizes and stuff. They never play with him during the day.
I think
Oh,
that's
look
the
how
most
cute.
I've seen him play
Yay.
with it.
Oh, such a big hit, Cosmo. And then I brought you something as well. I know you're moving and packing, so I didn't want to bring you anything that you had to pack up. But we had talked about oils before, and this is an essential oil. It's called Breathe, and it's supposed to be for your upper respiratory.
I'm just
Do you
about
have
out.
Breathe?
I'm just
Yay!
about out.
Oh, good. So this is the roll-on one.
Oh, even better.
Yes.
I can use it right now.
You can use it right
Thank
now.
you.
It's not open, so you have to peel that.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yay! I'm so glad, because I know you have allergies too, so
Yeah.
I was afraid that you might not be able to use it, but
I breathe, I roll it on my feet and my lower back.
yay! I'm so glad. Now it is, since it's the roller, it has coconut oil in it. It has
Yeah.
defractionated, or however
That's
you say
great.
that, coconut oil in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yay! Oh, I'm so glad. I was afraid you might be allergic. Yay!
Thank you for remembering, yeah.
No problem.
That will help me. I haven't had to use my inhaler all week, so.
Whenever you need more of that, just let me know, because
Oh.
I can get it for you.
Are you a doTERRA?
No, I'm not. I'm just a user.
Oh.
I'm just a fellow user, and I love it, so I order frequently, so I can get it for you when you need it.
Okay. Thank you.
So I know that we have had several conversations, and I've learned some bits about you, which I'm fascinated by. But today, let's go a little deeper and get a little more familiar. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about you growing up as a kid.
Let's get right
Is
to
that
it.
a huge?
That's not. Can I curse?
No. Yes.
Let's not fuck around here. We're getting right to this. My childhood was very interesting.
Okay.
Gosh, where does one begin? I don't know why the age 5 came to mind. I'm actually working on a piece here, working with my inner child and healing some stuff. Parents were divorced when I was 6. We lived in Provincetown, Massachusetts at the time, and my mother didn't drive, so we moved to Greenwich Village in New York, and that's where I grew up. And I went to public schools, lived 2 blocks from Stonewall. I know what you're really looking for.
You just take your time getting there.
You know, there's so much in 68 years. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my mother married a heroin addict, and he was an abuser. He abused me, he abused her, he was violent to her. And basically I, from the age of 15 to 19, was using and trying to kill myself, using pills. And in the streets of New York, was running away, was hospitalized multiple times, was in New York City jail overnight, in Rikers Island of all places, which is a scary place. And then
Let's stop there for a moment. Tell me how you ended up there. What happened?
multiple overdoses, and I'm not sure how my mother finagled it. You know, even in the midst of what she was going through, she knew I needed help, and she fought to get it for me. So she fought. She was not going to enable me, and she was starting to see a therapist at that time, I guess. You know, a lot of this stuff is kind of vague because it's a long time ago.
And you were medicated.
And I was medicated. and by the way, I was medicated. P.S. And so she found out about a program called, first it was Odyssey House. I was in Odyssey House twice and ran away before Rikers Island, I think. And then from Rikers Island, I went to court, and they gave me a choice, the judge. I could go into this other program for a year, and it was called Veritas, or go back to Rikers Island. I think I fist fought with a cop. I mean, I did stuff, and I stole things, and I did what most people using drugs were doing, and I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, with the wrong people and the wrong guys. So a lot of stuff that people using drugs do and expose themselves to, I was in the midst of from the time I was 15 to 19. And then I was in rehab, live-in for a year, which I wish they had a program even close to that here.
Yeah.
And it was government run, so it was free. And then, you know.
So that was a positive experience for you?
Well, it was
or a helpful experience?
It was a turning point. It was more of a fear-based turning point. You know, if you don't do this, you'll be here. And also, it was pretty rigorous therapy and rigorous punishment if you didn't do what you were supposed to. You know.
Oh.
You know.
Goodness.
When I ran away and came back, I had to wear a sign that said I want what I want when I want it, and I had to clean the bathrooms with a toothbrush and yeah, that kind of stuff. And we all had jobs, and we worked in the community.
Did you? I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Did you get therapy
I
while
got
you were there,
I
or
did
was
re-
it just really a
In my-
referral?
There was a lot of group therapy, they were working from Primal Scream and all that stuff that was popular at the time, and there was a lot of therapy, you know. And I mean, we would all walk around and go therapy, you know,
Right.
because we were getting therapy all day long, you know, and everything was connected. I don't think I really got what I needed till I was 30. I think that got me off the streets, got
Yeah.
me away from the drugs, got me away from my family, which I needed to be. And yeah, when I left there, I never looked back. I never went back to the village. I went and got a hotel job, and yeah.
When did your mother start the relationship with the heroin addict?
When I was 9.
When you were 9. Okay.
Yeah.
And so was it at that point that you started to want to be away from home? Was that the start of the bad home situation?
He was really the icing on the cake, you know. She was a single mom, and she was as good as she could be with what she had, right?
Right. Right.
She gave me a lot of atypical. She also was an artist. She also had been molested, so she had her own demons that she was living with and had never dealt with.
When did you get into art?
After 10 years of rebelling in the corporate world, you know, it was an opposite rebellion. I was not going to be an artist. I was going to, you know, wear a 3-piece suit and blah, blah, blah. And then I walked into the clay studio when I was 30. And the minute I put my hands on clay, I mean, that was, that to me was my God experience. My,
You started with sculpture.
Yeah, I've stayed with clay for, you know, since 1985. I worked in clay. And so much so that it was, you know, everybody was going to the bar after work. And at the time I was still, I was party, you know, I'd still be out there in the clubs and discos. And then I started wanting to be in the studio more and more, so I said, no, I'm going to the studio. You know, no, I'm going to the studio.
Yeah.
And
Peaceful place.
yeah, I was in the zone. I was gone when I was working. So
Yeah.
that for me was, that was the beginning, that was the real healing. That was the beginning of my healing, the beginning of my inner work, the beginning of me going to see a therapist and starting my journey of healing.
Yeah.
A lifelong of healing.
When did you get out of that year of rehab? Were you 20?
I was about 19 or 20.
19?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so were you able to stay sober from 19 to 30?
I didn't use the drugs and hang out with that same type of people. I was a functioning drinker. In other words, I went to work in the hotel business and trade show business, and everybody there was drinking, so it was,
Yeah.
you know, it was a common thing. But I wasn't taking any drugs.
There's so much to cover.
There is, you know, I'm just, I'm eclectic. I was a purist when I worked with clay. And for I'm trying to remember how long I was just clay, and really no color, very sculptural, very minimalist work. And 85 until, I think when I first had my first Reiki attunement in 2001, I think that's when color came into my world. Painting, I started painting on the sculpture. I was journaling at the time, and out of the journaling, poetry emerged from it. Because I like words, and I did when I was younger, much younger, before I got involved in drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, I don't know, mixed media just came into it. The work became more and more expressive and more about the inner workings. It was always, for me, even when I taught pottery, hand building, to me art was an expression of what's inside somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that made it all valid. So, yeah.
Tell me about 30. What was going on in your life then, and how did that work out?
I went to therapy then.
Mm-hmm.
And from therapy, what happened was I had my first 9-to-5 job instead of hotel job.
Okay.
I could go to therapy. I could take classes at the Craft Students League in Sculptor. I started taking care of my health, going to see dentists and doctors and things I had not done for many years. And I partied my ass off from 20 to 30 and had a hell of a good time. I was married twice.
In that time?
In that time.
Okay.
Because what women do that have been abused is either they become frigid or they become promiscuous, and there's a whole story on that. But I became promiscuous and had a hell of a time.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I was 30, and I was really starting to slow down, and I basically went into the therapist's office and said, I need help. I'm seeing my patterns, and I need help. And I met my ex-husband about early 83 or 4 or 5. No, 80. I met him in 86. And I've lived in Puerto Rico twice during this time also. So a lot of stuff.
A lot of life lived in
I have
those
lived
years.
many lives in this life. I've lived many lives.
One of my favorite works that you have done, actually it lives with me now, and that is the woman that you painted on the door, and we were honored to be able to use that as an image for marketing the Red Tent Collaborative. In 2019, you were featured artist for the Red Tent Collaborative. I remember being really adamant about using the image of that painting on the door as our marketing for that event, because it so resonated with me, especially I think because we were using poetry from the book The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, by Amanda Lovelace, and we had gotten permission to use her poetry for that event, and it just, the image of that looked like, it just reminded me of fire, and it had this charred look about it, but at the same time that it looked charred and burned, it also looked so vibrant and alive. I remember we never got a chance to talk about where that came from for you.
We never did.
No, we never did. So I want to hear it.
I was married, and I was angry, and I was frustrated, and there was nothing I could do in this particular situation. So I got in the car and I drove down to the lake, and I sobbed for like 20 minutes or so. I came back to the house, and I just did that painting in an hour.
Oh wow!
Not the finished piece. I think I sent you what was underneath. It was all red, it was pink and orange and hot colors, and so I just released it all into the paint, and it was like ta-da, you know.
Yeah.
it got rid of all the rage, and then over time, I didn't really like the pink, and I did I changed the color on top of it, and I think it became more powerful.
Yeah.
But there again is the layers.
Mm.
That's layers when you're working, so you're healing. That rage is in that painting.
Yeah.
That power, that energy, is in there, even though it's covered up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you took yourself off Facebook. Will you tell us why?
I just wanted, I wanted to live off the page.
Mm.
I wanted to deal with some stuff that I'm dealing with without any outside influence, without all the input from
All the noise.
all the noise.
Yeah.
So I got off it.
Yeah.
I'll go back on it once I clear some stuff.
When you're ready. Did it have anything to do with anxieties? Do you
I have PTSD and anxiety, a panic disorder. And it didn't come out until I was sick 3 years ago. And I might ask, so it reared its head again. I had worked with it 3 years ago. It reared its head in a big way when I got cancer. And so I'm in the process of working through that now. I'm highly medicated until I can get better footing. I
Right.
withdrew from, I can't tell you how many medications they had me on for this cancer, and then I had ended up with AFib in the hospital, and they had so many medications, and it just made everything worse and worse and worse and worse. And I said, yes, give me the Xanax and Ativan.
Right. I'll take it.
I said, it's okay, just give it and help me get through this time. And
Yeah. We've talked about recovery from substance abuse. We've talked about recovery from physical and sexual abuse. Were you able to work through that, and when were you able to work through that? Was that when you were 30 and you were able to go to therapy? Did you work through the physical and the sexual abuse then, or?
I've been working through it my whole life, and I'm here to tell you that layers can reappear much later in life, and they are for me currently. As we speak, I'm discovering that a lot of the trauma or a lot of the anxiety is deeply connected to my childhood.
So your mother was a painter.
Yeah.
And I have, you gifted me a triptych that she had done.
Yeah.
And that too is one of my favorite pieces in my house. And actually, I look at it and am thankful for it, for those pieces.
Yeah.
Several times a week, sometimes more than one time in a day.
Yeah. You have a good eye.
I look at those and think they're so beautiful. I have an attraction to trees. Trees in every sense are
Me too.
are special to me.
Yep.
That sounds weird, corny, but
No.
I have an affinity for trees.
I'm right there with you.
And in any form and any shape and any kind, and so that's why I was so attracted to those pieces of your mother's, and I'm very thankful to have those living at my house.
Yeah.
So tell me about what's going on with you most recently with your health. So you recently had a surgery.
They found lung cancer, not lung nodules, and had lung cancer. I had a lobectomy where they took a third of my upper right lobe. That was in May, and I'm recovering from that. I think the medication, it was worse than, I'm not kidding, this time I said, okay doctors, I'm trusting you, I'm in the Western world, I'm gonna be a good patient, I'm just gonna take whatever because.
Right.
And I did, and some of it I had to.
I know you like to, you like healthy eating and you like healing through food. I'm always interested to see your recipes and online, your concoctions.
I'll tell you, it's been recently all the medicine has given me GERD.
Oh goodness.
Which was affecting my breathing really bad, which was in turn affecting my panic disorder.
Yes.
So they slapped me on all these medicines. So I had to get real clear about what's the COPD, what's the surgery, what's the anxiety, what's GERD.
Yeah.
And what's costochondritis, inflammation of the rib joints.
Oh my goodness.
So I've been charting, journaling, everything. It's really made me, my life is spent monitoring to discern what's doing what, so I know what medicine is safe to get off or not, and what foods. It really hit me when I would eat, and all of a sudden I right away couldn't breathe. I'm like, okay, this is not COPD.
Right.
Or it's a combination of. So the journey's been figuring out what's causing what. Doctors don't have time to do that with you.
Right.
I'm fortunate enough to have a really great nurse that's kind of walked the walk with me for a bit. But there's some damn good artwork that came out of that.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Can we look at some?
We sure can.
I haven't taken these out in years.
Oh.
Years.
Oh, I'm excited.
These were they're all in order. So, let's see if I can do this.
So this is the book that got put on hold?
Yeah, I was going to do,
You decided you weren't sure if you were coming out or not?
I did come out.
You came out without the book.
I came out, well, I didn't need a damn book, I just came out. So, this was a 5-month process of working. I had my studio, and the therapist in the next office was doing sand play therapy.
Okay.
She invited me to experience that. So I would do a sand tray with her. I'd go into my studio right next door. I'd do a painting and a journal entry based on
The sand.
the sand.
Okay.
And within 5 months, I had come out, left my husband, was divorced in 3 months, and in a committed relationship with a woman. And there's just a lot in here. I'll just share some.
I love that. Oh, I love the blue coloring and the bird.
Yeah. I'm going to just do it like this, and hopefully I can get it back.
In order. Gotcha.
That's another one.
Oh, wow.
And they were basically, and this is, it was really symbolic of me walking away and leaving. Boy, I'm going to have to read
I
all-
noticed there were dishes in both
Yeah.
of the first two.
Good eye. That has being the housewife
Yeah.
and doing all that stuff. And my cup runneth over. P.S. He was a good guy, and I left still caring about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about this. This was even, you have to understand, this is before I even knew I was coming out or that I was gay.
Oh, okay.
I had no clue.
Mm.
So this is what I'm talking about, unearthing the unconscious, moving into the subconscious, and then making it conscious.
Mm-hmm.
So all the work I had done, it was already in the subconscious and ready. It was already ready.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I did the sand play therapy, it was ripe.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I did these,
Mm-hmm.
and it really, and again, it speaks to leaving
Yes.
and walking towards
Mm-hmm.
something. This is me. I think of that as my son. I still haven't figured out the turtle, but it's in all of them. Yep, there's a damn turtle and
More
a
turtle.
and a mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. More turtles. Maybe I'll find out what the turtles are.
I am so interested now.
So am I. I sure as hell would like to know what it is.
When it comes to you, I need to be one of the first to know, please.
I'll have to let you know. 'Cause I don't, all the typical, it's my home, it's my shelter.
Yeah. Speaking of turtles, you keep going. I'm going to try to find something on my phone that is crazy
A turtle.
coincidence. This meme, I just can't even believe that.
Okay. Let me see.
Well, it is on Facebook. Are you okay if I show you?
Yes.
This?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a burden-free life. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Nope.
I wonder if that's what your turtle is about.
Is there any way for you to take a screenshot of that and send it to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Justin, do you want to see this?
Yeah, that's great.
It's just kind of unbelievable.
Well, you're right, because turtle is about safety.
Your art on found objects is reminding me of Mara Latore, who I just interviewed recently. She does a lot of her work, reminded me of a lot of your work.
Oh. Yeah, we're all connected. So, there's the turtle.
This is,
The
I'm
turtle
really
is
like
This may
a
be
little
like,
speechless
this may,
about that.
wow. It's really, wow.
Yeah,
I'm,
I've kind of, my mind, I'm having to wrangle my mind from checking out of the current conversation because
Yeah.
now I'm just a little
So-
flabbergasted over that.
I'm seeing it as safety. What are you seeing it as? Turtle.
Well, it's interesting
Or protection.
it's interesting because that meme seems to be exactly opposite in
Mhm.
that the mother turtle is just leaving the baby
Yeah.
she drops the eggs and then she's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Yes.
Figure it out on your own.
Well,
And so it's kind of like I am seeing it as you as the baby turtle, needing that protection, and your mom's like, peace out. But I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to project myself onto your work,
Yeah.
in any means.
Yeah.
But this just interesting.
It is. This is why I say turtles are feminine. That was more. Let me see if I have a date on this. I gotta turn it around for a minute. Oh no. Darn it. Yeah. But that is kind of vaginal.
and the turtle's coming out.
Gotcha.
And so the female is in, it's a lot in this piece.
You use that, you know, the female a lot in your work. Very.
Yeah, it's like when I did come out, I told my son, he said, "Mom, you were painting vaginas and women for 6 years." Duh. I was like, okay. Yeah. And this was me and my partner, my female partner. And I can't say names because I can't do that. But anyway.
I've never been able to go to that level of subconscious in, like, for instance, in yoga. You know, when you're practicing yoga and you're supposed to think of nothing. I can never think of nothing. Like, I can never clear my mind and go to that place.
The trick is to think of everything. Not fight it, in other words. Allow whatever thoughts come to come. And don't go for any profound experience.
Right.
And don't go for that emptiness. If it comes, it comes.
Yeah.
You know, because 99% of people that are sitting on the mat are writing out their shopping list in their head. Truly.
Yeah.
Reiki was very helpful for me. You know, my mind's going.
Yeah.
I'll use a mantra sometimes, and I basically, when and if I meditate anymore, I'll sit and just say thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over.
Yeah.
Or something that's pertinent to what I'm working on. This came from that conversation. There's me at 5. And the plan is to surround, I'm going to put this down. You know how I go across, I get all my roses, right? So these are going to get glued all around there.
Oh, okay.
Around there. And I look at that as, that's protection. So that little child lives in me, you know, and we all have a little child we carry, so.
Grace that passes understanding, that's very biblical.
Well, it jumped out at me, the words. Yeah, it's, I've had so much grace in my life. I really have.
It's hard to exist without it.
Oh my God. Yeah. This one was from when my mother died in 97. This is the piece that it originally was. Again, it was done very quickly. There was a tree. I used to bike the trail out in Polk City. And as she was dying, there was a tree that had fell. And it was dying. The green leaves, it was slowly dying. And the 7 months that she was dying, in 7 months, that tree was totally dead when she died. And this was a hematite that she held in her hand that I had given her. And it had that, we both knew it had the face of death on it. So that was that. It was a 22-year process, this painting. It had another layer. I tried to, years after she died, paint flowers on it and make it pretty. And
It didn't work?
Oh, it was mud. So it wasn't ready. And then this happened like the painting that you have of mine. It just spontaneous, a lot of energy came from that. And that's what came out of that piece. So
I think I got some of this.
Oh, there's a poem that goes with that.
Oh, yay. Let me,
Can I read it?
I'm so awkward about this. Yes, please.
You can hold it and I'll read it. How's that?
Sure.
She who wears sneakers and mismatched colorful socks with a soft skirt can't stop touching herself, her tender, aging skin and heart. She is loving herself with such mercy. Rolling on her back, breasts flatten out in a pool of liquid velvet. Legs loosely fall apart, skin gently hangs, sways to a swoon. Determined hip bones, strong against hand's palm, circling belly and tender buttocks, soft as a baby's ass. Melting into herself, tenderly loving the serenity of age. She's gotten softer, gentler, more fluid. The body is quieter, calmer, no longer at your mercy. She has learned kindness in her sorrow, and there is no more rage, only cool blue skin. Yeah.
Yeah, that really resonates in many ways.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, my son gave that to me.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
When?
I don't remember.
Everything changes when you start to emit your own frequency rather than absorbing the frequencies around you. When you start imprinting your intent on the universe rather than receiving an imprint from existence. Now this is interesting. Somewhere over the mountain, it looks to me like a mermaid tail.
That was during the uprisings.
On the mountain?
Somewhere over the mountain, let freedom ring.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over again. Yeah, that was more connected to the race riots that were going on in the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm.
You know, man, that was so hard to watch, all of that. It was just...
It really was.
It was brutal.
You know, so many times that I'm meeting with lots of artists recently.
Yeah.
And so many times there is this discussion, this constant discussion about this weird ache, this weird block that we artists are suffering and have been suffering. And we each keep saying, I'm okay. I was okay. It didn't, there was nothing that was really very difficult for me personally during the struggle. During the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And yet we all are finding ourselves in this same weird spot. Mm-hmm. And it's like we've all experienced this trauma from the outside. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to explain it other than it's like watching a really scary movie and you just can't shake it. It was so horrific and obviously so traumatic and horrific for people who were in the middle of it. Absolutely. And experienced it. And of course, we keep saying, and by we I mean these creatives that that we know and love and commune with. We keep saying that we didn't suffer like they did, and of course that's the truth. But we still all are left with this zombie, this just a weirdness. I don't even know what to call it.
It's collective grief.
Yes.
It's collective grief.
You just gave me chills. You just named it.
I don't know how I did that. It's the drugs.
I think it's more organic than that, Claudia. I think it's much more organic than that. But if it's the drugs, you just keep taking them and keep
It's fun
it.
to say that. I'm going to be saying that even when I'm not taking
When you're not taking them anymore, you're gonna stop taking them and just say it's the drugs.
It's the drugs. You hear me saying that for years. It's the drugs.
I don't want to put this one away.
Which ones? Oh, yeah. Let the freedom.
Collective grief.
Collective grief. And we couldn't name it, and it was too big to even give it a voice. A lot of us shut down. I shut down creatively in a lot of ways. I mean, some things I produced, but
Right.
it was different. Yeah,
It was different. It is different. There's like this aftermath.
Yeah, we witnessed
You know.
how much.
Yeah.
How much can human witness, and and so how do we respond to grief?
Yeah.
We all do differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And allowing ourselves
Yes.
to acknowledge our grief. You know, we think that it's not appropriate, you know. And I am speaking for myself, of course, but I'm also speaking from several conversations with several creatives.
Yeah.
And we feel like we aren't allowed the grief because we didn't experience, you know, we didn't experience the level of horror and trauma that our, you know, our friends, our people of color, experienced. And so we feel like it's not appropriate for us to acknowledge our grief on their behalf.
And I just want to, you know, here I can feel tears welling.
Me too.
I just want to go and hug, you know, my black friends, and why can't we say, I love you, I'm so sorry. Why, you know, it's for the same reason we can't even do that with each other.
Yeah.
Let alone with this big.
Yeah. I remember after, at the culmination of the Black Lives Matter march here in Lakeland, after the march, we marched to Munn Park. And there was a gathering in Munn Park after the march. And I remember I was walking away. I was on my way headed to my car, actually, and I was walking through a crowd. And I was so sweaty. And just feeling heaviness, physically and mentally, and just everything, you know, carrying that away from the scene. And I was walking, and this black woman, who I don't know, a complete stranger, just came straight up to me and threw her arms around me. And I just remember thinking, ma'am, I am so sweaty. I am so disgusting right now. I have, you know, and she smelled so good, and she was so put together. She was so beautiful. And I just remember thinking, why are you hugging me right now? I'm so disgusting. And she just... She just squeezed me so tight, and she said, "Thank you for being here." And I felt so unworthy of her appreciation.
Wow.
It was a really odd moment. And I walked away thinking, what kind of fucking world do we live in where this woman is put in the position to appreciate me taking a walk. I did nothing. You know, I don't know. Clearly I'm still processing it.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. I wish I had gotten her name. I just felt so disgusting. And I felt like, please don't hug me. I'm so disgusting right now. So I just wanted to get away. But I wish I had asked her name. But I didn't.
She didn't care. She didn't care if you
No,
were sweating.
she didn't.
She didn't care. Yeah.
You've been in several stages of recovery.
Mm-hmm.
From several different traumas.
Right.
Are you feeling good at this point?
Yeah, I always feel good, even if, you know, even if I'm in the trauma, because I'm always processing. And sometimes it might be considered oversharing, but I really feel that getting it out and expressing is a way to move on. And
Yeah.
it just takes another layer off and another layer, and it takes away the shame. And then it becomes a matter of fact. This is what happened, and I've more than survived it. I've thrived because of it. My name is Claudia Iris Bloom, and my art of recovery is many, many, many things. I want to say that the doorway to all the different mediums that I work in has been clay. From the minute I touched clay in 1985, that was the beginning of art and recovery for me.